Hi everyone, it's me, Bryn Chan. A little bit of change of scenery today because I am in my bedroom. Um, See, there's a little bit of a sneak peek there, what my bed looks like. Today, the reason I'm doing this format today is because I have something that I really want to talk about because I've noticed that this entire time I've been on the channel and I talk about uh, affiliate marketing, and I always tell you how great it is to have affiliate marketing. Matter of fact, Monday I just had this big video explaining what affiliate marketing was and what it is. But I never told you my story of what made me want to do affiliate marketing to begin with, and why I think you should do affiliate marketing, and why I think it could benefit you and get you to the lifestyle that you want to have, particularly financial freedom, the freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want to, you know, let your kids have all the opportunities in the world that they could ever want. Retire your parents, go on trips, hang out with friends, do all of these things. Now, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start this. Now, this video may go longer, it may not, depending on what it is, because I do have a meeting to go to right after this video. So, but I might not get to it in time, mainly because this is really important. And I think that you all should hear, because I'm not different than anyone else. I'm not. So, here we go. I was born in 1996 to a husband and wife who were and still are drug addicts. Now I don't believe they were as into it when I was born, but they are pretty deep in it now. But when I was born, I found out that when I was born with drugs in my system. Yes, I was what everyone calls a crack baby. At least that's what my husband calls me, a crack baby. So now it's not good for children to be born with drugs in their system. It's not okay. I'm not saying that it's fine. It's not. Clearly, I don't really call them my parents because I wasn't really raised by them. So, but I was adopted. But before that, I was with these parents. I had two younger brothers that were adopted with me. But we went from house to house, different apartments. We were sleeping in the car. We were on the streets. We were looking just for food sometimes to just survive. This is what my memory is serving me right now. There were times where we stayed in his mom's house, my grandmother's house, and we stayed there because we didn't have anywhere else to go. We were kicked out of different houses. The matter of fact, the last house I lived in with them, it was a duplex, and the neighbors had moved out. And when the police came knocking on the door, we were hiding in the next door neighbor's part of the duplex because they weren't there, and the police were looking for them. But there were needles and drugs just everywhere. They'll tell you different, but there was. From what my memory serves me, there was. So, but they busted in the door. They looked all around. They couldn't find us, but they noticed there was a door in the bedroom, in my parents' bedroom, that led to the neighbor's side. Yes, this is a weird duplex. So we went into the neighbor's side and hid along the wall there. So when the police came through, they came in and they had to look to the side in order to find us. But then they found us, and then that was the last time we were with them. So we did get adopted after that and everything. So then we ended up going and living with this wonderful woman and her husband that I now call my mom and dad, because they gave us just a wonderful childhood. They weren't rich by any means, but they weren't like poor. They were about middle class, lower middle class. They were there. We had land, we had horses. My dad, he worked all the time. My mom was kind of a stay-at-home mom, but she took care of the horses. We did fun shows, and of course, I've explained what fun shows are. They're horse shows that you go to, and you do these events. So I had a pretty nice upbringing. It wasn't extravagant. It wasn't like I was born with like a silver spoon in my mouth or anything. No. Matter of fact, from what I said, it was quite the opposite. So, but no, after I graduated high school, I did live with them for a little bit, but then afterwards, I moved in with a friend. And so while living with this friend, it was okay. I did live in the country, so I didn't really have means to go out into town to get a job or anything, because I didn't have a driver's license or a vehicle at this point in time. So after a while, and they don't even know this, but after a while, I became homeless again. And I was struggling this entire time growing up when I was a kid. I always dreamed that I would have my own business. I'd be a famous writer or a singer, and I'd have my own business, and I'd rent out houses, and I'd be this millionaire by the time I was 20. Obviously did not happen. But I ended up being homeless by the time I was 19. Why? Because I just didn't know what to do, and I kind of just, my lack of decision making brought me to that point in time. In my life, I was just homeless at that time. So I slept over at this guy's house a couple nights. I slept in the McDonald's. I slept in front of a bank. Matter of fact, I didn't wake up until the police were already there trying to figure out what I was doing. And I straight up, I told them, I was like, I'm just heading over to a friend's house. I stopped over to sleep. I'm sorry. And matter of fact, the only thing I had on me as far as identification goes was a birth certificate. I didn't even have an ID. Nothing. So they let me go, and I walked over to this person's house. They didn't even answer, so I ended up just sleeping on the porch. Or just sitting on the porch until it was time to go to my work, which at this time I did find a job, but I was still homeless at the same time. So that job actually ended up letting me go because I was homeless and I didn't have anywhere, and then I didn't even know there were like options to go shower, but I didn't have the means to get clean, like shower or brush my teeth, And so they let me go, even though in the morning I would go to their bathroom and I'd brush my teeth real quick and I'd try my best to, you know, at least smell nice. But it just, I guess it wasn't meant to be. So, but then, one night, it was so bad, I hadn't slept in like 3 days. And so, I went to the hospital just to see if there was anywhere I could stay. Probably wasn't thinking like the clearest, but they thought I was high. And so they ended up calling the police on me. And I talked to other people and they thought I was high too, but they let me use their phone. And I got a hold of this woman who I met at Walmart when I lived with my friend, and I didn't even remember how I even got her number or who they were. I called them, and she was like, I am coming to get you. I am coming to get you. And so I go out, I sat on the bench. Little did I know, yes, the hospital did call the police on me. And as I was sitting there waiting for her, they came up and they're like, so what's going on? Are you high or anything? And I told them, no, I'm not high. I'm actually just homeless and I don't know. I just don't know where to go. But I called somebody. They said they're on the way. They're coming to pick me up. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to sit with you until they pick you up so we know you're not lying. Because if they don't pick you up, we're going to have to take you in for the night. And I guess if they take you in for the night, then you have a stay in jail on your record, or... But that's what... I don't know if that's true, but that's what they told me. So luckily, she picks me up. And I live with them for about a month and a half. So at this point, I wasn't really homeless anymore. But I didn't have a job either. My main job, technically, was to watch their child while she went to work. And her boyfriend was playing video games all day. Now, where they lived in his mom's basement, so it wasn't like the cleanest of areas. They were dealing with bed bugs and everything. There's an infestation, and you know, the upstairs was like immaculate. And so when I finally got to move upstairs to a bedroom upstairs, it was so nice to have. It was so nice to have my own room. There was rules that I had to stay clean, you know, can't wear shoes up there, no friends, no partying, no whatever. And I didn't mind. I made my bed, but during the day when I was up, I had to go downstairs and I took it upon myself to clean up down there because it wasn't clean. Now, I will say that her boyfriend did do the dishes. He didn't just play video games all day. He did play video games all day, but he did do stuff outside for his mom, and he did do the dishes. He might have also done laundry. I'm not entirely for sure, but there was just a lot going on over there. A lot going on down there. It wasn't a safe place for their child, and I was basically their nanny at that time, just not getting paid because I was living there. I was taking care of the kid, I was cleaning up, I was doing all this other stuff just so I could stay. And at that time, I met my then boyfriend, and we ended up getting engaged, and I moved in with him in his grandmother's basement. There's a lot of basements here. that is not my proudest moment. No, that's not. Yes, I got out of that basement, and it was better than where I was. But now I was in a whole new situation. I was living with him. I ended up going to Job Corps and getting my CNA, and that's where I met my future husband, was at Job Corps. We both took CNA. We sat next to each other in class. We both took the test. I scored a 98. He scored a 76. But he became a nurse. I did not. So that just goes to show you that it's not about IQ, it's about hard work. So, because for the longest time, I also thought I would be a doctor, but then I didn't become a doctor because I just didn't do the work for it. Now, I went to Job Corps. I did my studies. I came back. We moved to Olathe in Kansas, Olathe, Kansas. And we lived with his parents for a while, and then we got our first apartment. And there was some issues with them. It was not okay. It was a pretty bad apartment. I'm not gonna say which one it was, because I guess they're under new management or whatever. So maybe they've gotten better, but the time they were not the greatest. And I was in a doctor's office, the hospital. I was going through a lot because there was mold and everything in the walls. The toilet upstairs was leaking, and they were like, "Oh, it's because you have a rabbit." First off, the rabbit can't get up to the ceiling, so I don't know what you mean by that one. But no. So after that, we moved into another apartment. And this entire time, while we're figuring stuff out, and I think that we're gonna have this great life, and I'm not homeless anymore. That's the main thing. I'm not homeless anymore. At least I don't have to worry about that. I have somebody who's gonna take care of me. But he was cheating on me since practically day one of us being together. And I stuck with him for 4 years. For 4 years, I stuck with this guy because I was afraid of being on my own again. I was afraid of being homeless again. I was afraid of not having money again. I was afraid to do things on my own again. Because when I was doing it on my own, nothing worked. I didn't have money. I was homeless. I was struggling so hard. But now at least I was struggling, but at least I had somebody else with me and I wasn't alone. And I was afraid. I was afraid to go backwards. But the relationship was deteriorating. It got very emotionally abusive. All my money he would spend on alcohol and other women. And there was the occasional physical altercations as well. So I ended up, after 4 years of being together, I ended things. And I tell you what, I was trying so hard to find my own apartment, but the entire time I was trying to find my own apartment, they were trying to kick me out of the apartment that I shared with him. My name was on the lease. he and this other girl he was with were trying really hard. They threatened to call the police on me, everything, to try to get me out of there. I really had no funds, basically. All the money I did have, I scraped up. The place I worked at Payless Shoe Stores at the time. They were in Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They were shutting down. I don't know if any of you remember that, or even remember what Payless is. It was a shoe store. And they were closing down after, 50-something years of being in business. They were closing down. They're filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, so they're shutting down. I'm getting basically kicked out of my apartment while trying to find another apartment. So at this time, I'm trying to find another job, but in KCK, because I can't stay in Olathe. I didn't want to be near him, but I didn't have the funds to move from Olathe all the way to Wichita, where our family was. I didn't have the funds to do that. So here I am struggling. At this point in time, I'm like, I've been trying to start my own business this entire time as well. I'm trying to learn Japanese as well. And he's over here telling me, why even bother? You're not going to do it. Okay? I'm not even going to attempt to support you because I already know you're going to fail in whatever you're going to do. That's what he was saying this during the relationship. And as I was trying to leave, he was like, we should just get back together because you're never going to be able to find a place on your own. You're never going to be able to afford it. So here I am. I finally scrape up enough money to get an apartment that I only get to stay in for 2 weeks because it floods. And I finally have this other job in KCK while still working at Payless in Olathe. So I'm going from Olathe to KCK until I move officially to KCK and just have the job in KCK. But then I have to... I basically... Since he's moved me away from family and I have no one in KCK or Olathe, I have no one there. He's basically succeeded in getting me alone by myself, and I have to still depend on him when everything goes wrong. So my apartment floods, and the only place I can run back to is that apartment with him. And I'm trying so hard while I am there. I don't want to be there. I don't want to be with him. I got in a car accident on my way moving up there. I didn't say that part, but while I was moving to my apartment in KCK before it flooded, I got in a car accident. So I didn't have a car, so I had to rely on him for transportation as well. Because I had no one there. And I was too afraid to start anything else that could potentially make me more money, so I never had to fear about being in that kind of situation again. I wanted to invest in Bitcoin a long time. You know, when that guy was showing off that you could use Bitcoin to buy stuff, like he bought a pizza. I wanted to invest in Bitcoin then. But, I decided I was going to listen to the guy I was with, who clearly doesn't know how money works. I listened to him. So I'm relying on him for a roof over my head, for my transportation. Finally, there's this friend I have in KCK. I can't live with them because they don't have the room. I'm not going to try to rely on them anyway, but he has an uncle who fixes my car. And now it's not the greatest job in the world, but it gets me to and from places. I still have to put my car in a shop every once in a while, but at least I have transportation. That's one form of independence I had to get away from him. And while I was there and I was looking for a place to go, I was trying to find somewhere else to live, I meet this wonderful, wonderful woman in KCK. Now, yes, I call her a woman. She was 19 at the time. I was 23. But she's pretty mature for how young she is. How much younger she is than I am. I'm 26 right now, so you do the math. She's about 22, maybe 22, 23. Wow. This actually wasn't that long ago. It feels like it was a very long time ago. So I'm living with her, or I'm talking with her, trying to move in with her. I'm sleeping in my apartment because I don't want to be with him. I'm sleeping in my apartment that flooded, and so there's clearly, obviously, mold growing underneath the carpet because it smells like mildew and everything else there, and I'm getting sick, and all they are doing is plugging industrial-sized fans into my wall outlets, saying that they replaced the carpet and everything when they clearly did not. And I have all the pictures, but I'm not going to post them up here right now because that's not what this video is about. So eventually she allows me to move in with her. And it actually moved quite fast because I was pretty desperate and she needed a roommate. So it was $1,000 up front. So it was like a $500 non-refundable deposit because she needed it for, like, if anything went wrong in the apartment. I don't really think anything went wrong in the apartment during that time other than maybe the ventilation system, and the apartment had to take care of that. I think we both kind of had an understanding that her car also needed fixed, and so it's kind of where I think it went to. But I'm not going to complain because she did take me in her car to a lot of other places because I stayed in the house a lot. I didn't want to go out. I was too afraid to go out. I didn't want to be around everyone else. After what I had been through for 4 years, I was too afraid to go through that again. She's the one who was like, girl, you need to go out and date again. You need to do this. You need to do that. Because I was too afraid to do it. I was too afraid to start my own thing because for 4 years I was told by somebody I was supposed to be able to trust. For 4 years I was told, you're never going to make it. It's not going to work. You're going to be poor for the rest of your life. And for 4 years, after listening to that for 4 years and having gone through what I had gone through, I believed it. But while living with her, I reconnected with someone I had met in Job Corps. In 2020, I reconnected with my future husband from Job Corps. And he tried so hard to get me to understand that I could do whatever I wanted. And that not all guys are terrible. Not all guys will use your money for alcohol. Not all guys want to just let you suffer. Not all guys will take you seriously when you say you don't have to buy you a gift. He went out. Every time he visited me, he would buy me something. True, it was only from the 7-Eleven, but I didn't care. That's more than any other guy showed me, because he wanted to go and buy me expensive things off Amazon and stuff, and I told him no. So the compromise was 7-Eleven. He drove 3 hours to come see me. He drove 3 hours to come see me. No one has ever done that for me. I didn't know somebody could care that much. I didn't know there was somebody who would support me that much. And we've been together since 2020, and this whole time, whatever crazy idea I get, he stands behind me, and I'm sure he thinks I'm nuts. I'm sure he thinks I'm nuts, but he still supports me. So when we got married, I was sitting down and I was thinking, it was like, how am I going to make it to where he doesn't have to work for the rest of his life? How am I going to make it to where we can have what we want in our life instead of having to go to a job and work 9 to 5, or in his case 3:30 in the afternoon till 1:20 in the morning? How are we going to change it? How am I going to provide that for him to where we have the freedom to do what we want when we want, buy real estate and rent it out to people, give our kids the opportunities that we never had growing up, give them all the opportunity in the world? I want to live in another country, but he also likes to be here because his freedoms. So what I have suggested is we live there during the winter and then come here in the summer, because this is a great country. I will say that. And that's how I discovered affiliate marketing to begin with. So I was sick and tired of just sitting there. I was sick and tired of not doing anything. I had this YouTube channel. I was singing on this channel a long time ago, but it never worked out because I sang on the channel, but then that's all I did. And it wasn't every day. It was very sporadic. There'd be like months in between before I even decided I was gonna upload again. And it's not because I didn't want to upload, it's because I just didn't have the motivation for it. But then I found affiliate marketing. And it painted a picture of everything I wanted. Everything that I knew I deserved, and what every single one of you deserve. It showed me an opportunity that if I took it, I could go and I could make that life for me, for my husband, for our future kids, for my parents, because my dad works all the time. Matter of fact, for my grandparents even. Let's throw them in the mix too, for my grandparents. My grandparents, my parents, his mom, our future kids. Let's throw that all in there. It gave me a pathway, a roadmap, if you will, to the financial freedom I had been looking for. Success really is simple. It is not easy. Not by any means. And if you've seen my Reflection Wednesdays, you'll know how I can talk to myself sometimes and how I feel towards things sometimes. Yes, it is an up and down. It's like a roller coaster. You have days where you're all the way up here, but then you have days that are just straight down. That's when you start anything like that, to try to get all the way up here. When you go, your goal is to get all the way up here. The road to it is bumpy. Okay? It is not smooth. There's no starting from here and going all the way up in just a matter of days. You have to work towards it. And that's why I say, if you want to learn about affiliate marketing, I always leave the link down below in the description, because then you can check it out too. And I'm not trying to leave this to tease you about anything. I tell you this so you can go down to the description, click on the link, and then you can learn about affiliate marketing too. The video teaches you all the basics of what you need to know. All the basics of what you need to know. You don't have to pay for that video at all. That's why I say, if you want to learn more, click the link. Because that same link provided me with the clarity I needed. It provided me with a clear vision of what my future is going to look like, to keep me away from what my past was, to keep me from being homeless again, poor again, begging people again. Not that I even really begged to begin with when I was in that kind of situation, because I was too proud to do that, as a lot of people are. I want it to provide you what it provided me. It provided me with the fact that I don't have to struggle anymore. It provided me with all of the roadmap that I needed to get where I needed to go. And it wasn't like I had to do it by myself. I had tutors. I had a business launch challenge that they helped me build my funnel from step 1, getting your Bluehost, getting it connected to your WordPress, and doing a landing page and making your funnel and getting your ClickFunnels connected to your WordPress and your ClickMagick connected over there, and your GetResponse and your Cloudflare, and you gotta get it all connected. Because that's what it takes. To be successful, you have to put in the work. And I'm gonna probably just leave you off right here, because I've given you my story, so you know who I am. And if anyone's ever had to deal with anything like that, then you know the struggle, you know the want to not be there again. I'm gonna leave you off with this, okay? Like I leave you off in every video, I'm gonna leave you off with this again, okay? Invest in yourself, because you are the very best person you can invest in. That's why I tell you these things. You invest in yourself with knowledge, with the education, stuff that is going to get you ahead. Stocks, real estate, gold, silver. I say these things because they pertain to other things I've learned as well. I don't just say it because it just sounds nice to say. And as always, if you want to learn more about affiliate marketing, the link is down below in the description. I 100% implore you to check that out. I want you to know, I want you to get better. I want you to have the most amazing life that you could have ever dreamed of. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video, okay? Bye.